I know all of us are enjoying the start of this NFL season. You know how excited we've been to talk about it with you here on the Sports Cubicle with the marvelous one, Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, and myself, Mike Mercado. But I really wanted to get into this story that has to deal with the football world, a name, a legend from the football world, somebody here in the city of Chicago we have all grown to have a lot of hate for and has done something that I think is going to grow that animosity towards him. And that has to deal with Brett Favre. This comes to us from the USA Today from Lorenzo Reyes. The state of Mississippi is suing former NFL quarterback and Hall of Famer Brett Favre and others, alleging they misspent millions of dollars that had been allocated for welfare. Newly revealed text messages from 2017 indicated that former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant, who left office in 2020, was aware of the arrangements and that money that was intended to help low income families after being funneled through a nonprofit, it eventually went too far to help build a volleyball facility at the University of Southern Mississippi, the lawsuit alleges. And of course, Brett Favre's daughter goes to that university and is on the volleyball team. Favre has reportedly denied any wrongdoing in the matter. Now, I really wanted to talk about this because obviously it's easy to talk about the rivalry between the Bears and the Packers. It's obviously easy to talk about how much we dislike Brett Favre throughout all these years. And even if you disliked him, knowing the respect you had to give him as a football player, especially on that Monday night game against the Raiders after the passing of his father. But I've never seen in a sport like the NFL where so much is forgiven, where so many things are swept under the rug, seeing somebody tarnish their legacy, their name, as much as Brett Favre. We saw what he did to Miss Decker when it came to those unsolicited private part pictures that he was sending, those penis pictures he was sending to her through text messages. And then you're seeing this. And this is something that I've found just so disgusting, egregious, just revolting, is seeing some of these athletes like Herschel Walker and Brett Favre take advantage of their constituents, taking advantage of these citizens, these people, and of course in poorer parts of our country, taking full advantage of them. How much money has Brett Favre made? How much in endorsements, sponsorship, movies, commercials, contracts has he made? Appearances, autographs. And he needs to do this. There are so many ways, so many shady ways, but less shady than this, ways for you to make money, to raise money if you want to build a facility at a university that your daughter goes to. But to do this, to take advantage of people who need it. And we're seeing it all over this country where people don't have drinking water, where we've seen the climate change destroy all these different cities with floods and fires. And you have somebody who's made so much money, who is admired, revered by millions, resorting to this. Now, again, this is all alleged, but it kind of just is par for the course of what we're seeing from a lot of these people, these athletes, a lot of these athletes that come from some form of privilege as they made so much money. And it's so frustrating because this will get swept under the rug. If Brett Favre doesn't have to pay anybody back, doesn't have to go to jail, none of these things, right? They're not going to take away his Hall of Fame. They're not going to stop loving him in Green Bay. They're not going to they're not going to stop loving the fact that he almost got them to the Super Bowl. They're never going to admit the fact that he's kind of like Jameis Winston. For every touchdown, there's an interception. A person who always put his team in worse positions, but he's going to be somebody who's forgiven. But the media won't talk about that. And when I talk about media, Fox News, CNN, all these different entities will use this as a talking point. But we'll ignore the fact that LeBron James, Steph Curry, a lot of these different players, Jason Hayward here locally, do so much great stuff for the community, for their communities. And that, gets talked down upon. These athletes get talked down upon. But we're going to put somebody like Brett Favre on a pedestal. A lot of these different entities, a lot of these different influencers are going to defend him as the push comes to shove. And it's just really heartbreaking for somebody who, I've always admired from afar Green Bay fans, what they've had with Aaron Rodgers and with Brett Favre. But this is so disappointing to see somebody who could do so much good, who probably at points has done decent stuff with charities, but could do so much just with notoriety of his name alone. And he's decided to be a part of this. And let's talk about this former governor in Phil Bryant, low of the low, scum of scum. I mean, right now in a country where we're seeing other governors just ship people, immigrants that are supposed to find refuge in our country, just sending them out to different places. They have no idea where they're going with no amenities, and other citizens are now having to come together to try to help people. And to see that this governor knew full and well, without a blink of an eye, allowed this to go down. This is a something that just saddens me, and it's upsetting, and it's upsetting, and it should hurt, and it should frustrate. Not only if you're a political fan where all you're doing is watching MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, or if you're somebody who only watches ESPN, CBS Sports, Yahoo Sports, NBC Sports, or listening to us right here on WCPT 820 AM, where you get best of both worlds. We're covering all the major political and sports stories right here on this station, Monday through Sunday, every single day. But I want to know your thoughts. This story really upset me. It really, for all the talking and everything that we've said these last few minutes, it also is not surprising. And I think that's also what's so disappointing about it. But I want to know your thoughts about this story of Brett Favre and what's going to happen with these misspent millions of dollars that was supposed to go to welfare. I mean, think about that again. Some of these, we always talk about spoiled athletes, and it's weird that when people talk about it, it's usually about Black and Latino athletes. But these athletes that make so much money, especially somebody like Brett Favre, and the idea that it was $5 million to build a facility, like, that's it. Why did you have to do that? Welfare of all things is frustrating. Let us know your thoughts of this entire story. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. It's the marvelous one, Dan Marver. It's Devin Tingle. It's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado.